Hey, it worked.
Hey, yay.
Well, welcome. You do the intro.
Oh, hi, I'm Miriam, co-founder and COO of Keto Chow.
I'm Chris, also co-founder, president, and the technical guy behind Keto Chow, who got to set up the live stream, and we were a little late because we got home late, and I was smoking chicken, and there's
Yep.
still some in the smoker. So at some point, my phone will tell me it's time to go get this chicken out of the smoker.
Okay.
Anyway, if you're brand new to Keto Chow, it's a nutritionally complete meal designed to make keto easy. We also have some electrolyte supplements that are amazing for everyday use and for keeping the dreaded keto flu away, which is really handy when you're fasting.
Yes, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the little bell icon for daily updates on all our Keto Chow happenings. These live streams help us be accountable and stay on track. Thanks so much for joining us on our journey.
Yes, and tonight
Today,
we have...
yes, we're so lucky. We have Carolann from the Low Carb Family.
That's right.
Awesome.
Now, you've also got the FHW. What does the FHW mean again?
The FHW, so Fortified Health and Wellness, that's our company. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Fortified Health and Wellness is kind of the legal end, and the Low Carb Family Program is where we get to go out and do things. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so let's just kind of start. I mean, so we met you when we came up to the Great Canadian Keto Conference.
I think we met her before in Connecticut.
Have.
Oh, yeah, yes. we've met way back a million years ago. The second Keto Fest.
Yeah.
So the 2018.
Yeah, we were there for the 2018, then the 2019. You know, we backpacked a lot of those events right alongside you guys. We met you again at Low Carb Denver. Then you came up to Canada, and
that's when we really met you guys.
Yeah. Well, that's when we really, yeah.
And, okay, now it was your husband that got me into the what's his name? The singer,
John Mayer.
John Mayer.
You know what? It's so funny you bring that up because we, just for fun, we have a t-shirt factory in the back of our house. So whenever you need, you know, a goofy t-shirt, we have you covered. It's just kind of a hobby. And I totally, if I hadn't been playing at the beach today, I would have put that on my shirt today just for you, Chris. But yeah. Take one and throw the rest away. Throw the rest away.
Take one bite, throw the rest away.
I think that is like that should be every keto low carbers mantra.
Get all the garbage in, shove it in your mouth.
Yeah, and then go back and just get one more, and then throw the rest away. Yeah, no, that's good.
That's right. Okay, so you are currently doing kind of your own thing, right?
Yeah.
So, do you want to tell us about that? Tell us how your journey went. Incidentally, you gave a presentation during Fasting Friday.
That was my favorite ever.
During Keto Fest. That was so cool. Anyway.
Yeah. You know what? To back it up a little bit, just to kind of figure why I would even be here talking with you. And I think that just out of the box, you have two sets of twins. I have two sets of twins. We're fabulous right there.
Kindred spirits, right?
Yeah. And so we get each other. But so the Low Carb Family, I'll tell you a little bit about that, where I guess it's come from. So when we first met, I was coaching with another group who we love still and support today, and they love us right back. So the fasting method is really where I began my coaching journey. And
although it was IDM back then, right?
It was IDM way back then. So that's Dr. Jason Fung and Megan Ramos, who are amazing in that space. So from there, really our passion, my husband, he isn't here right now because he's just busy, but this was just for me to do tonight. But our passion is all about the family and how can families be fortified from the ground up or from the top down. So taking care of parents, taking care of caregivers of kids really became the focal point of what our life was all about, because we have a group of kids too. We have 7. So, you know, our journey began getting healthy ourselves. And then when we decided, well, we didn't decide, it just became known, we're in a better spot. What about these people behind us? All these little people who are growing into teenagers and now adults, and then now we have grandchildren. Believe it or not, we have
Wow.
Oh man.
three we have three amazing little people. So the low carb family is really born out of that necessity. So first, taking care of the caretaker, taking care of the adult in the house, and then taking that and bringing it into lifestyle. How can we support the family through food? And you don't really have to go too far in the conversation before you can start identifying so many areas where kids are kind of left out of the picture when it comes to making health decisions. They just kind of get what's given, right? Because
Let's
we're
see.
the
What
ones
did
who
our
are
children decide to eat tonight?
They ate what we made them.
Oh, that's right.
yeah. Exactly. And it took a little bit of time maybe to get to that point. Maybe for some families, they're creating 2 and 3 and 4 meals, which I think is
Mhm.
totally bananas. I'm with you. It's one meal. This is what we're having, and that's all she wrote. And I our kids have actually complained about steak, believe it or not. So if we see one more steak come onto Castle McCann's table, I think we're going to poke our eyes out with forks. That's what they
That
think.
that wouldn't be so funny
If it
if
wasn't so
if our
true.
one of our
One of
daughters
our
hadn't
daughters like,
decided.
I'm kind of done with steak for like a
Yeah, she
couple of
wants
months.
chicken now. So we've
Yeah,
got
we've been chickening
chicken
her
in
up.
the fridge that we're going to make her help vacuum pack so that we can take it to work and cook when she
There you
wants to
go.
have a lunch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Anyway,
is
sorry.
no, that's cool, which is a really good segue, or another point that I really like to make with my clients is kids have to be involved in the equation when it comes to food. Now, we don't let our kids tell us what we're eating per se, but we do let them have a little bit of a hand in what they might really like. So even if your kids are little, I know your kids are growing and they're not little kids anymore, but some people listening and some of my clients have toddlers and little age kids. So you're not giving them the butcher knives to go and chop up, you know, things in the kitchen. But kids can really be a big part of what's happening with food. And we've always taught our kids how to cook real food, whole foods, teaching them about the quality and how things taste and texture and all of those things really can make a big difference when it comes to choices when parents aren't around, which our kids are really good at now that they're
Mhm.
teenagers. We can be away and know that they're going to make some better choices because they've learned to make those choices. um, a funny thing that did happen, though, we did go away and leave some teenagers at home, and we came home to our recycling like overflowing in junk food. Just,
Pizza boxes.
yeah, all of the above, because they have jobs too. And when teenagers have jobs, Uber Eats, Skip the Dishes, whatever you have in your
Mhm.
neighborhood, they're on speed dial. They can come at any time.
Yeah.
So anyway, when we came home, they said, we're done with this fast food. We can't do it. It's just awful. And
Yeah.
so that just told me they can have their opportunity to eat some food that may not be my choice, but in the long run, or maybe the short end of it, they have really developed a good skill at picking some really good food. So teaching kids how to create food has really been a big part of what we do. Um, I'm not sure what really to tell you from there. The low carb family really wants to support families and take them from a place. I come from a place where I was really unhealthy. I thought life was great. I didn't know I was unhealthy, like many Canadians and North Americans alike. I just thought everything was fine, but I was morbidly obese in my expression. I don't think I had a lot of weight to lose. Let's put it that way,
Okay.
but I felt fine. I really felt fine. I felt comfortable. I wasn't ill, but slowly I was starting to fall apart on the inside. And in 2016, I know part of my story, and but some of the listeners may not.
Yep.
And in
Yeah, please.
2016, I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer, which
Just
even
right off the bat,
today,
stage 3?
right off the bat,
Oh, wow.
and like most illnesses, you don't plan for them, and there's no real lead up to it. It's just one day you're fine, and then the next 5 minutes, everything is not fine.
Nope.
So for us, it was a bit of chaos, and over I would say the course of a few weeks of early testing, and when they decide where you're at and what your staging and grading is, that's when I really started to unlock this whole idea that food was related to the situation of health that I was in. So for me, I only speak about my own experience. Others may have different forms of cancer, different forms of illnesses where their food environment did not create the chaos. But for me, I know without a doubt the food that I was eating leading up to this diagnosis really played a role in where I was at. So that was a tough one to swallow, and I think that people really don't want to hear that. They don't want to take that responsibility and say I had a hand in this, but I know that I did. And the day that I really saw that happening was when they gave me this big, probably 30 ounces of this goop to drink, uh,
Mm.
and it was just liquid sugar. It was like it was like candy floss in a cup. It was so overwhelmingly sweet, and through the explanation of what this was, basically they pumped the body full of so much sugar, put you in the PET scan, and just light you up.
Oh,
And
so it was the
the
radioactive
sugar,
tag stuff?
exactly. And
Okay.
it goes searching like these little rogue aliens looking for cancer cells, and it's like light bright. And everything is flashing, everything is active. And wherever they see this happening, that's where the cancer is. So that was a big aha moment for me, thinking, okay, sugar is the thing that's going to go find this, and sugar is basically the mothership. So I needed to do a lot of housekeeping when it came to my food choices. Um, so that's really where my journey began with low carb and a ketogenic diet. So by way of some insider access, let's call it, my husband was already a patient of Dr. Fung. So
Oh,
Jeff
okay.
was a patient of Dr. Fung's way back in 2015 in Scarborough, and when it was still barely an entity, it wasn't even a full program yet. So he said, before you get engaged in any kind of therapeutic therapy or chemotherapy or surgery, maybe you should see Dr. Fung, or maybe you should see Megan Ramos and see what they have to say. Maybe fasting, maybe changing your diet can be a part of this plan. Not to negate traditional medicine, but maybe they can partner. So I was able to get in and see both Dr. Fung and Megan Ramos, which was phenomenal, because now you just can't do that. It's like next to
Yeah.
impossible. So I think about 2 years ago, we were at a 5-year wait list if you wanted to see Dr. Fung.
Oh,
But
wow.
now I don't even think that there's a line. I just think
Yeah,
it's
I
gone.
think when they switch to the fasting method, they're not doing any actual
No,
in-person
no,
consultation anymore.
no, they aren't. So I was able to do that, and we did formulate a really great plan with their team and Megan and myself, and she coached me through. Um, and I know that making all of those changes in my diet early on not only helped create a better environment for my body to be stable, and now in a healthier way, but it started to give me a lot of energy, believe it or not. So a lot of times if you go into a cancer clinic, people don't look the best in there. You know,
No.
it's not the
It's called
best environment.
sarcopenia, right? That's the wasting, the loss of
Yeah,
muscle and everything like that?
yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
just being there is draining. It's
Yeah.
just draining being in that environment. So by switching my diet, eating some healthy fats and intermittent fasting when I could, really started to give me that energy. And then the weight loss happened. So I was starting to lose some weight. I was gaining some energy. I wasn't losing muscle. I was starting to feel actually good
Mm.
through my treatments. Now, I
Wait,
don't
you were
say
feeling better during
yeah,
chemotherapy? That's
I
weird.
it is weird, but I won't paint a picture where it was so beautiful and glorious because
Yeah.
believe me, there were days that were terrible. There were
Oh, yeah.
terrible days and awful days, but when you go through things like that, I think, on the other side, looking back at it, I can kind of separate what was happening. So it wasn't that I was this really sick, ill person. More, I looked at it more that the medication that they're giving me, the drugs that they're giving me, is kind of making me feel and look and be this way. It wasn't that cancer all of a sudden turned me into this sick person, and it was more becoming a little bit more less environmental and more like the medication basically was the result of how I was feeling. It wasn't cancer, wasn't making me feel sick, and if that was just my mindset, it's what helped me through. So um, I didn't want to be a cancer patient. Who does? Who wants to
I
be?
don't know.
And so I didn't ever wanna look at myself and label myself as a cancer patient, even though I was there and was one. But so through that process, I went through many surgeries, several surgeries, chemotherapy for 16 rounds of chemotherapy, so almost 6.5 months.
Wow.
Then we did 35 rounds of radiation. And that was
Oh,
a long, it felt like an eternity, the radiation. There's no break from it. You just kinda go and come every day, back and forth, and, it wasn't in my city, so it made it a little bit, more adventurous. You
Harder.
have to yeah. So it was a little bit of traveling every day, and, so people took turns with driving because that's exhausting as well. But through and through. Um, Now we're really on the other side of it. So almost 5 years later, um, I'm cancer free. That's I should lead with that instead of leaving people think, well, where is she now? you know,
not
but
dead yet. How about that?
no, exactly. So I'm cancer free, and I feel amazing. I feel actually better than I did when I was 30. So, I'm well over 30 now, but I really think that switching gears, getting into a low carb diet and making it lifestyle, that really is key, is getting it to the point where it can be lifestyle. Although people may start with ketogenic diets and low carb diets, and even using intermittent fasting, and maybe they're on the forefront, they just need to lose weight. That's all they want. They just want to lose that weight. And then when you get there, hopefully you kind of switch gears or switch your mindset a little bit more towards your health or long-term longevity. And that's really where I think my mindset is at now. Health is always going to be on the forefront. Of course, weight loss and keeping our weight to a certain uh, comfort zone is important. But beyond that, the lifestyle has to be a big component, because if it's not lifestyle, it's a job. And I don't want, diet to become my job. So making it just part of my everyday is really important. So maybe people struggle with that, thinking I need to make these changes just so I can lose the weight, and it really gets you get caught kind of in a circle or in a cycle of failing and restarting and failing and restarting. And if I look at it in a lifestyle mode, it's just Tuesday. So today I may eat lunch, I might not, and I'm going to have dinner. And then tomorrow is going to be a fasting day. Instead of being, how am I going to, keep these calories down or keep this weight down, and always be thinking about, the what I didn't do right today. And I think that that's really where we come from in the low carb family. We want to help people build a lifestyle and not make it another job, because I don't want another job. I have a big family, and a husband and a business to run and all of those other things. And food diet just shouldn't be something that is tiresome, like a job.
Mhm.
Hmm. Simplicity is really important to me.
I think so. I mean, plans are great. You may share this way of life as well, where lots of kids, maybe when your kids were young, you did a little more kind of fly by the seat of your pants, winging it a lot. I think I winged it a lot when our kids were young. Now, completely the opposite. I'm a real planner. I like to have things planned. I like to know what's coming up tomorrow and next week, and so I think that keeping it simple is important, because it's less complicated.
Hmm. For
Yeah.
sure.
I'm about to sneeze, so sorry if I do.
Yeah.
So,
So that's who we are. That's what we're doing. We're supporting families either in the current health situation that you might find yourself in.
mhm,
Let's throw this out there. Sometimes people go to the doctor and they come back home, and the doctor, that you might say, your spouse says, well, what did the doctor tell you? Well, they said I should uh, eat a low carb diet and see them in 3 months, and that's all.
mm.
And the patient's like, I don't even know what a low carb diet is, or and I have to go back in 3 months. So some people just come because of that. Some people come as clients because they don't have a clue what they should be doing. And then others are here because they just need some added support, where they may already know what a low carb lifestyle is, or a ketogenic lifestyle. And they just need some extra guidance when it comes to implementing some fasting,
Mm.
and which we love. I love intermittent fasting. So
Now
that's really.
that's a good question. A good thing. When you say intermittent fasting, do you mean Dr. Fung's definition of intermittent fasting, or do you mean the common accepted definition of intermittent fasting, which is I just didn't eat breakfast and lunch?
I I think that the intermittent fasting, for sure, I follow what Dr. Fung has put out. That's the way I fast.
Right.
That's the way I coach. Now, if somebody were to just want to do as you suggested, Chris, they
Time
may do,
restricted feeding.
yeah, time restricted eating. It can be a great maintenance
Yeah.
tool, but I actually sat in on a talk with Jimmy Moore and Ben Azadi yesterday in the clubhouse, and we were talking about insulin resistance and the problem with people having insulin resistance and weight to lose. If we aren't focusing on some, not extended fasting, but consistent fasting, we aren't going to tackle that insulin resistance. So, educating what that is all about, and educating the difference between type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, and glucose numbers, and all of these things. Some people believe I'm not type 2 diabetic, so I mustn't be insulin resistant either. And off they
Mhm.
go. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I think that it's kind of like that slide from The Princess Bride. I don't think you think that
I
means
don't
what you
think that
think it
means what you
does.
think.
I love that slide. I love that meme. But it's really true. And so education is a really big part of it. So That's the way I teach. That's the way I coach, is certainly based on Jason's findings, Dr. Fung's findings. And so that's the long and short of that answer right there.
Okay. Well, it's interesting because for a lot of people, they hear intermittent fasting, and there is kind of the how you hear it used, and then there's the actual medical term, and they are different. Most people, when they say intermittent fasting, they actually mean time restricted feeding, time restricted eating. But when we talk to Dr. Fun, when we talk to Megan, when we talk to you, fasting intermittently, I guess would be another way to say it, is very different from an 18-6 eating window, for instance. So, can you tell us more about now? Also, the family part of the low carb family, is that more of a community family, or is that more of a getting your family, you as a family, involved in health and wellness?
Yeah, I think it's twofold. I think you're right. So for us, it's our immediate family. It's who
Okay.
lives under this roof. So, it's my husband, it's myself, a gaggle of kids. Some don't live here. They're adults of their own. They have their own house. They don't
Would
live
you
here
say
anymore.
you have a plethora of children?
Yes, yes, a cacophony of everything, noise always. But um, that's what we're talking about. So it's who lives here, and that can be, families are made up out of all kinds of different forms and ways. So that's where we're looking at it from, because that's your first point of contact, right? Those are the people that you want to not only protect, but you're teaching, your kids when they were little. You taught them how to brush their teeth, you taught them how to make their bed, you taught them how to, make their lunch, and then how to walk the dog, and then how to wash the car, and how to, all of these things. As they grow, they learn more. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about this household. But from there, it's going to spread, because what now? So one day our kids will all be gone, and it will just be Jeff and I. And then, but now we have these grandkids, right? So they're going to come over, and what are we going to do? So that's the extended. That's how it's going to keep filtering out, because we want to have a hand in their nurturing and in their health education as well. So I think it has to start in your home, and if there's still people there, you can still help guide them. But if you're just coming into the low carb family now, and maybe you don't have any children, that's okay. You're still a family without children. So again, it's going to come in all kinds of different shapes and sizes, and every which way. So I hope that answers your question about the family, how our focus is. And then your other question was about how fasting and families. Was that what you said?
Oh,
Um,
if the family is like the community family.
Yeah.
Right. So it's all of the above. We're building a community. Our Facebook group is there to support one another. It's
Mhm.
there to support, every part of the journey, whether you just be beginning, starting out, or well on your way in intermittent fasting. So the community is growing. We want to build a community of support, and and that's really what we're trying to do, is just be there to be a help however we can.
Thank you. Well, there was one question. We said what intermittent fasting is according to you and Jason Fung and Chris, but we didn't actually say what that was. So Carrie would like to know, well, what does that mean to you?
So it's kind of like Get Smart, and we're all into the cloak of
Yeah, we're in the club.
So intermittent fasting is a set aside time of fasting. So when we look at beginning, you may not be able to start kind of, all these hours of fasting. You may start with time restricted eating. where you may be doing 18 and 6. So you're eating 2 meals in a 6-hour window and fasting for those 18 hours. But as you get going and maybe drop a meal and now you're into 20 hours and 24 hours, you're extending that to 36 hours every other day. So alternate day fasting. So 3 out of 7 days you're fasting for 36 hours. So my general the way I look at my fasting hours is weekends we don't fast. It's family time, it's social time, and we're just kind of coming out of our lockdown in Ontario. We're just, believe it or not, we're like in the dark ages up here. But so Sunday evening is our last meal, 6 or 7 p.m., and then we'll fast until Wednesday lunch, maybe, or Tuesday lunch. So that will get us 42 hours of fasting in. Then we'll have 2 meals, and then we'll go 42 hours. We'll have 2 meals. And that's just kind of how we'll go, maybe for 3 or 4 weeks before we decide to make any changes. So that's intermittent fasting. It's taking a break from eating over a period of time. So it has to have some consistency behind it. It's not just a one-off where you just do it for a couple of days and then you're done. Um, that's just I don't know what you call that. That's
An
Chris's way.
extended fasting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
It's a trial.
yeah. So it kind of it's different from extended fasting
so
in that,
extended
yeah.
yeah, extended fasting is anything more than well, maybe I'm not sure what Megan might say now. 72 hours, anything beyond 3 days is considered an extended fast.
Okay.
Um, so my clients, we generally go to 5 days. Some may do 5, 6, or 7 days. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Um, and
Now,
anything
and the
more than that,
36-hour fast isn't, it's you just don't eat for an entire day
And then you sleep
because
while you're not eating.
you ate dinner,
Hmm.
you're gonna eat breakfast, and in between those is 36 hours.
Hmm.
And I
yeah,
think that was a kind of a light bulb moment for me when I'm like, oh, okay. A 24-hour fast would means I eat dinner and then I eat dinner again.
Hmm.
exactly. And
36 just means, yeah.
You
I
cut
I
one more
find
meal out.
exactly. 36s to me, um, are almost difficult because I never eat breakfast, and so if you wanna kinda get over that, you have to look at you have to be a planner. You need to
Hmm.
kinda look at the hours and don't just say, "I'm going to start fasting after my last meal tonight," because now all of a sudden, "Wait a minute, it's gonna be 6 AM and I'm breaking my fast." I don't wanna
Yeah.
break a fast at 6 AM.
Mhm.
So, it may take some planning and taking a look, and sometimes, we'll start a fast at noon for that very reason. So we may eat breakfast and a lunch one day, and now we're starting a fast just to get us to a better break time.
Okay.
Hmm.
And so a
So
42-hour would just be you skip breakfast as well.
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So if I start on an evening after dinner, I won't break my fast at breakfast. I'll go on to a lunch. So it'll always be a 42 for me
Hmm.
or longer. But like that's what's comfortable for me. That's what I'm used to. Sometimes I'll do 66 hours just because if I know Friday's rolling around and it's going to be busy and there'll be a meal there that maybe we want to share with some friends, and then I'm like, well, now I'm breaking my fast at some weird time and now I have to like do all this catch up. So instead of doing that, I'll go back and take a look at how can I extend maybe that Wednesday fast another 24 hours, and that kind of buys me my Friday. So that goes back again to lifestyle. How is this going to fit? Because you don't want to be bending and cracking yourself and your family to fit some diet. It's not going to work.
Hmm.
You have to make it your lifestyle. So what works for you is going to be your best fast is going to be the one that you can do.
Hmm.
It's going to be the one that's successful.
You talk about that a lot.
Yeah,
That
I
don't
have to make myself achievable goals. Otherwise, I'm just so disappointed because I fail and I don't want to fail. So I have to say, I'm going to be able to do this, and this is what I'm allowing, and this is what, like, I just have to make something that I can achieve. So,
Yeah, it's true. And something I tell clients is this might look like a race and feel like a race, but if you look at it that way, that's fine. But you're the only runner. So
mhm,
you're guaranteed to win. Even if you stop halfway and start again or walk it,
mhm.
you're still going to get to that finish line first. So yeah, that's a freebie.
So tell me what you tell clients about children and fasting.
Our
That's kind
kids
of a hard one.
Our kids
Yeah.
don't fast, obviously, because kids shouldn't be fasting. They need to be nurturing their bodies and bones and muscles and their brain.
Growing. Yeah.
So and growing. So they don't fast. But you have teenagers, and I can probably bet that they sleep half their morning away, like some of our teenagers,
Mhm.
and they don't. This happened in our house. I don't even know what day it was, but our kids ate breakfast at 4 p.m.
Oh my
I'm like,
goodness.
"What are you guys doing?" And they're like, "We're having breakfast." I'm like, "It's 4 o'clock." And they're like, "Yeah, well, we didn't go to bed till 6 this morning." So
Mm. Oh my
and
goodness.
that doesn't happen. They don't normally do that, but it was the first few days of summer vacation, and so
Okay.
that's what they did. But our kids don't fast, but they do have these interrupted hours of non-eating. But
Mhm.
something that we have taught our kids from way back in 2015 is fasting for us was it was just like going to the pharmacy and bringing back home Ventolin or Ritalin or whatever drug you need. So
Okay.
fasting was part of a therapeutic plan. And for Jeff, he was found with type 2 diabetes. Didn't even know he was a diabetic. It was a random find in an emergency room, and it was
Oh,
really out of control, wild. He had had some surgical procedure, got this wild infection. The ER doctor said, "Hey, man, your diabetes is really out of control." And Jeff's
he's
like,
like, what diabetes?
He's like, "I think you're in the wrong room." He's like, "No, no, no, this is you." His A1C was 16.9. It was
16?
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
it was crazy. So he
So for
was
those of you who
on
are following along at home, a
Mm.
regular A1C is like 4.8. It's under
yeah,
5.
it is under 5. Yeah, it could be 4.8 to
Wow.
5.3 is the normal range, but he was 16.9. So danger zone. But I won't tell his story because that will take all night, but he found a doctor that would allow him to go and research something to help him avoid medication. He said, "Let me go, for 3 months, and if I don't find anything, I'll take this drug. I'll take the doctor agreed. So he said,
Oh,
"I'll
wow.
give you these 3 months." And that's how he found Dr. Fung. He went to the internet, he just was searching and searching and searching, and, then when he found that he was in Scarborough, nearly fell off his chair. Because he thought, well, he's probably, like, who knows where he is, but
Mhm.
literally in our backyard, and, so he got in, they had a cancellation, he got into the clinic. Jason said, "You should fast for 16 days. Go home and fast for
Just like
16
that.
days." And, he couldn't yeah, just like that. He couldn't do it, but he worked up to it.
Yeah.
And, eventually anyway, he dropped about in the early stages, I think it was 35 pounds in those 3 months, and his doctor agreed to let him keep going without the medication. So in about 6 or 7 months, he lost just under 75 pounds and brought his A1C back down to almost, I think, in the 6s. It was amazing.
Wow.
So now it's down to the normal range. But, so for us, it was therapy. It had to be
Yeah.
part of the therapeutic plan. So for talking to our kids, it wasn't just, another fad diet that we were going to go through to try and drop some weight. They knew that this was a serious thing, and, this was part of the plan. So, but we tried to not keep it well, we tried to keep it from being weird, setting the table, making food, and then not eating. That's weird,
Oh,
especially when we love to cook and we love to eat food. But for our kids early on, it was really part of the therapeutic way, and they knew that it was necessary for Jeff's health. And then it made it easy when it was time for me to kind of switch and join him. And it was probably 6 months or so later that I started with fasting and changing my diet. So kids don't fast. We taught them early that it was therapy, part of the plan to be well for us, and then teaching them about real food, teaching them how real food can solve real health problems. And maybe some of these bad choices in foods were the reason why we were in this sinking ship, so to speak.
Hmm.
So, that's really how we tackle it. And we always sit at our table, fasting days, feasting days. We don't opt out. We always join our kids at the table. Sometimes they might be with a cup of coffee or a tea or bone broth in a bowl or whatever.
Yeah.
But we keep the ritual of our family sitting down at the dinner table is still part of our life, and so that's really how we've tackled it with kids. Um, people might think, well, low carb family, that sounds extreme. Don't you think that that's a bit extreme? Your kids need donuts. Kids, kids need cookies. Um, but they don't.
No.
Let's just say they don't need those things. But we've found a better way how to kind of handle those things. And I think it comes down to teaching how to cook and teaching about food. And, I did a whole week on some different tips and strategies for some beginners. And we talked one day about grocery shopping and just the simplicity of taking a little person to the grocery store. And even if it's just in the produce section, let them look around with you. Don't send them out by themselves, but and just kind of, you know, ask them what they see and what they would want to eat. And, challenging parents to just let their kids put things in the cart from the produce section and take them home and see what it's all about and how to eat it and cook it and enjoy it.
Well, then
Um,
they'll just buy dragon fruit.
Yeah, right.
yeah,
It's
but
just our kids.
yeah, exactly. So, teaching about food for us has been a real, um, we enjoy it. We enjoy that part of it because it keeps them involved in what's going on. And everyone should know how to cook and real food. I think kids should know about real food. And part of the process of us being a low carb family is teaching about processed foods and how to, keep them out of the equation. And we're still normal. We still go to the grocery store and we still see the cookies or the bake shop and go, "Ooh, there's the bake shop. We should all go over there and look and see what's over there." That's part of life. So there are times when those foods do come into our house, but we can control them. It's not something that we're going to getting and bringing into the house every day. They're on occasions, and we make room for them. And by that, I mean, uh, maybe it's a celebration. So it's time to have a birthday cake, or it's time to have, their favorite meal or something like that. And for us to prepare for it may mean a day of fasting before, and then enjoying the celebration. And then it might mean a day of fasting after. So, we're normal, and those things still happen, but it's
I've met Jeff,
lifestyle.
and he is not normal.
Yeah.
So we
Mm.
had somebody ask a question. What do you do if your family is in the medical field and they don't believe in the idea of keto? So how do you deal with that?
You know, this is what I have witnessed and what I've seen just in my own experience with my own health. So I went into an oncology department and I thought, surely my oncologist is going to say, Carolann, you need to stop eating sugar. Carolann, you should be fasting every time you come through these doors. You should be fasting. And so I thought, well, I'm going to go and see what he has to say. So my very first meeting with him, I said, should I be giving up sugar? No, you don't need to give up sugar. No, you could just eat sugar. It's fine. I'm like, okay, well, I'm giving up sugar. And then I said, well, maybe I should be doing some fasting. Would that help? That would help, maybe give my body a boost. And he's like, no, I don't think fasting is something that will work. I don't think you need to worry about fasting or sugar. You could eat and include sugar too. So
Should
I
I
said
give
to
up
him,
smoking while I'm being treated for lung cancer?
so,
Because
so I said to him, I am going to give up these things. I'm changing my diet and I will be doing some intermittent fasting. And this is what the protocol is. And he kind of just threw his hands up and said, okay, well, I don't know anything about that. You go, you do that, but this is what we're doing over here. So over time, when I would come back into the clinic, every day before my chemo, I would have to go for blood labs. And then they just check, make sure everything is, on target and you're prepared and ready for the drug the next day. Um, and so over the course of months and weeks and months rather, he could see what was happening. And he never, even at the end of it all, when I had some terrible weeks, I was in the hospital so many times. Um, and we actually sat down in my hospital room. I was there for almost 10 days. And he said, I seriously don't know if we should continue your treatments because you're so sick right
oh
now.
wow,
And I said, he basically was going to leave it up to me. If you want to continue, we will, but I don't know how you're going to handle it. And I had 2 more treatments to go. So the process of the conversation, we sorted it out. We made a plan. We would dial it back a bit and add another treatment. So he said, we'll give you a little bit less, but we'll extend it over a longer time. So that's what we ended up doing. So he agreed to let me out of the hospital, and I went back home. So when we got to the end of the finish line of chemo, I asked him, how do you think I did? I wanted a report card. And he said, well, I never worried about you. I never really worried about you. So he never came out and said, I need to know everything that you know about intermittent fasting, and I need to know everything you know about diet. And that's what we're going to teach here from now on. He never came and said those things, but he couldn't deny or discount what he could see in my blood labs. He couldn't deny and discount what was happening in my body. So I tell clients, allow the evidence to speak for itself. You don't have to defend it. So doctors are scientists. They're not um, they're not by the wayside like me. I'm not medical. I'm not a doctor. So they need they need to see evidence where I may be more apt to say, I'll try that, and that maybe that's going to work for me. But as soon as they see the evidence coming by way of blood labs, blood tests, scans, x-rays, whatever it is that they're using an MRI, they can't deny that evidence. And that's really all that they want. So that's what that's how I talk to others in the medical field, or people who might come and say, you know, what do I tell my doctor, or my doctor doesn't believe that these ways are going to work? I say just give it time and allow that evidence to start to speak for you, because you're not going to have to defend it.
Hmm. That's awesome. Well, an important point with all this is, if your doctor isn't on board with a ketogenic diet, that may not be your fault, but it is your problem. And I like that you and your doctor were working together to come up with a treatment plan. It wasn't just your doctor saying, you will take this, and I really like that they, despite they didn't know anything about it, they were willing to let you make decisions about your health,
Mhm.
which is really important.
Yeah, it is. It is. And he actually, you bring that up, and it's interesting because I did talk to people who had an opinion of this doctor before I met him, that they weren't really keen on this doctor. And I was like, well, shoot, that's who they gave me. Like, that's who I have. And, and they're like, well,
Boy.
because, not that he, not, not that he wasn't good and reputable, but he wasn't personable in their opinion. But, I think it just goes to show everyone sees things in a different light, in a different way.
Mhm.
Things hit you at different perspectives, and maybe they just didn't jive with that person. And when we met, and even still, like we live in a masked community still because we're just coming out of lockdown here. We're so far behind, but that's okay. We're not complaining. We're almost there. But we'll pass each other because our city's small. We live in about a 50,000 people, so we all shop kind of in the same, area. He lives in my neighborhood. So we always pass each other in the grocery store or somewhere like that, and he always gives me a high five or something in the grocery store. So we have a bond, and I love him to death, and he was phenomenal. So it's important to advocate for yourself for sure, but it's also important to just let your voice be heard, especially when you're when you want to implement some of these changes in your own lifestyle and diet, and you're talking to your doctor about them.
Okay. Which kind of brings us, well, kind of full circle. So you are running a coaching program, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And are you mostly doing it online through, how are you doing that?
Yeah, we do it through Zoom.
Oh,
So
okay.
we do
I've
private
heard
coaching.
of that over the last year and a half or twice.
Zoom. Yeah. So we do private coaching over Zoom. We have some coaching packages where we can coach over a period of 6 months, where you may want to have a plan devised to get you from point A to B to C. Whether you're a beginner, we talk a lot about nutrition. We talk a lot about intermittent fasting, even extended fast. So all of those things are part of the program, but everything is really personalized because it's nothing is one size fits all, and it's really important that clients are heard and kind of met where they're at and devise a plan out of what their needs are, and then we kind of build a plan and a program around that. And then we also have just a single session, which is a really cool session, um, where people might think about their time with me and write out a lot of questions. So,
Hmm.
before you go to your doctor's office, hopefully you write down a lot of questions, because when I get there, I forget everything I want to know, and I'm just like, well, what else is green in here? This is nice, and I leave
Yeah.
and I think
Oh my
I didn't
gosh.
ask any of these things.
That happens to
So
me all the time. They're like, "Do you have any questions?" It's like,
Like,
"Nope,
nope.
nope,
no,
no
no,
questions at
no,
all.
no.
I'm
Yeah,
fine. You're fine.
it,
I'm fine. We're
yeah,
Everybody's
all good.
fine.
Nope."
everything's fine. So
Mhm.
the single sessions are awesome for that purpose. Clients will write out all their questions, and then we'll meet, and they can kind of go one by one, and I'll answer them, and then most times we'll put together kind of an initial plan, kind of where you might start, and then send them on their way. And then maybe in 6 or 8 weeks, when they've gotten through those things that we talked about, they'll come back and say, all right, I'm ready to go to the next step. So that's really what we're doing with programming and coaching. Also, we're launching just this week a brand new free program. It's not even a
Oh,
program; it's just a support group. So we're going to be running that from our Facebook group, but it will be, not to be complicated, but it will also be on Zoom. So it's private. You don't have to pay for it. You just have to have the unique link. So people that are on our mailing list, people that are part of the community of our Facebook group, they're all in the know. If you are listening and you're not in the know, you just need to join our Facebook group, or send us an email at info@thelowcarbfamily.com, and we can give you information about the group. So it's called Connect 4, and it's going to be a lot of fun because we're going to have special guests. Miriam's going to be one of them. but she doesn't know
Ooh.
it. No, she does know it. And so it's going to be kind of light and informative and engaging. So to get people kind of support over the summer, this is a program, support group that we're going to have every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern through Zoom it'll be bouncing from our Facebook group. So
Now, is
that's
that
starting.
Canadian Eastern Time or?
It's the same.
Yeah. Well, when it's not in dollars, it doesn't matter, right?
What, are those Canadian dollars or are they real money? Man. Well, and
Canadian
that kind of,
dollars.
they've
Yeah.
gotten better.
Yeah.
The exchange rate has gotten a lot better. Well, now that kind of brings me to the whole Eastern Time zone. What areas of the world do you guys work with?
Everywhere.
Okay.
Australia, Pakistan, England, Ireland, Scotland. They're everywhere. I have clients lots of places all around, and good old Canadians and Americans too. Yeah.
That's great. So you said it's every Thursday at 6 Eastern?
6 p.m. Eastern every Thursday. Yeah, and this Thursday is the first one. And my husband Jeff is our first guest. So
Oh, boy.
I said, you gotta like show your face on my on my page here. So I said I signed him up for the first group. We're going to be talking about holiday eating, not Christmas, not New Year's, not Thanksgiving, but summertime. Kind of cottaging, vacationing, tenting, camping, things like that. So he has some great strategies for that, and that's our very first week will be all about holidays.
Okay. So let's see. I think I just wanted to pull this up really quick.
Maybe you can. There it goes.
There we go. And look, the background's all weird too. Okay, we did get extra tiny. Okay, so is there a place on the lowcarbfamily.com that gets you over to the Facebook group?
Chris, wouldn't that be amazing? So if you hit the Facebook logo right there, it may take us to. I should know, shouldn't I? I built this thing.
There it is.
Yeah, it takes us right to our Facebook group. Yeah.
And I'm in the
And
community
then
section, right? Is it there? No.
it's not there, but it will be. It's
Okay.
not there. So right now it just rests on a post probably from Monday or Friday. It'll be in there.
Okay.
But the links are they have to be sent out through email. So they're not, you can't click on it here. It's not there. So
okay.
So we've just included here that if anyone wanted to be a part of it, to get the email, we would obviously need their email. So most people, when you sign up for this page, have left us their email. But in the early days, when the Facebook group was first launched, we had a rush of people that wanted to be in the community, and the whole rules, everything was bypassed. That was on the admin side. So a lot of things just didn't get no housekeeping was done. Let's just say that.
I'm blaming Jeff.
Yeah. No, it's all me. It's all me.
I'm still blaming Jeff.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we'll make sure that it's up there in the community tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, is what's it called? Copacabana? Is that open yet?
Mm-hmm.
You mean like
Copacabana?
You mean
the
like
churrascaria
the
up there
Fogo
in
de
Toronto?
Chao? You mean like yeah. No.
Dang.
You can't dine inside
Really?
anywhere. Yeah.
Oh man.
Can you dine inside a restaurant in Salt Lake?
Yeah.
You can go sit down.
You don't have to wear masks if you're vaccinated. It's just,
it's crazy.
Here you don't either. But that's just new, like literally new, like yesterday.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But you have to have both vaccinations. I do. The rest of my family doesn't. So it's taking time. But indoor dining is not going to happen probably for another, I don't know, 3 weeks maybe. But everything's patio, everything's outside, so that's fine.
All I know is they had prime rib with cheese in it.
Yeah. That was good.
It was so good.
Yeah. It's funny that you're like wanting to get to Copacabana and we're just dying. Today our kids are like, Mom, we just want to go walk through Target because I know that's so funny. But we live so close to the border that's normal for us to go shop for the afternoon, even just to cross the border for dinner and come home. So it's been hard to kind of we haven't been over. Yesterday we were talking about it. It's been we don't even know when we were over last.
That was BC, before COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to talk about the giveaway real quick.
Is there a giveaway?
Yeah, so we're doing a giveaway tonight. It's going to go for 3 days. It'll be on both our Facebook pages and Instagram pages, right?
Okay.
And Carolyn's giving away two
single sessions. Yeah, 30-minute single sessions. Yeah, that's awesome.
Which those are the ones you want to write down all your questions and come prepared so you can just get some good knowledge. And then we're giving away starter bundle and a bunch of chocolate.
Okay.
Ooh, so that'll be good.
No electrolytes.
Awesome.
Yeah, we could throw in electrolytes.
What the heck? That's what we're all about, right?
I know, right?
You like
electrolytes are important. I spent the whole day at the beach today, and I had all of my water just hopped up full of fasting drops, which I love. I love them. I love them. So that kept me going all day.
So we didn't have any of the fasting drops with us when we were camping this last weekend.
Yeah. Oh man.
We actually had some neighbors that had come with us, and Miriam walked over to the table we were at.
Oh, it was so funny. With my Redmond salt.
And the girl's like, "What are you gonna do? Put that in your water?" And Miriam's like,
"Yes,
yes."
Like, I feel horrible. I need some salt.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I love your products. I wish I could tell you how many times I've sent people your way to get some fasting drops, some magnesium drops, the whole gamut, because they're awesome, and we use them every day. It's an everyday thing. I know you use them too, but we use them every day. They're always in my water, and even today, the total strangers. If it wasn't COVID, I would have taken them some. Total strangers came cycling in to the beach, and they were just spent because it was hot.
Wow.
And and they get off their bikes and they kind of lay down on the sand, and they're thinking, now what? And I thought, where's your Keto Chow drops, dude? I thought, he probably doesn't even know what they are. I need to go and give him some. But you probably, your kids probably look at you sideways when you do things like that in public.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't anymore, but
I literally was gonna do that yesterday. I'm like, oh, they need some drops.
Exactly.
It was our server had a migraine, and
I wanted
to give him some magnesium, and I was like,
they need some drops.
It's true. We have them everywhere. They're in my backpack. I have the little travel one in my cooler bag. They're everywhere. They're right here, probably in this drawer beside me. We don't go 5 feet without them.
That's awesome.
Where would we be without you? I don't know.
And hey, we got them at Switch Grocery up there in in Toronto. Yeah, so
they're awesome. We love them too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the giveaway going right
on all the channels. Go check out the lowcarbfamily.com, the Low Carb Family on Facebook, the Low Carb Family on Instagram.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
And even if you don't pay for the coaching, it's just a free place, and there's lots of good advice and all the fun things. It's nice to just chit chat and be part of the community, so you don't have to pay for anything if you don't want to.
Exactly. Yeah, which is really why Connect 4 is there. Connect 4, I think, is going to be awesome. I love the name. I came up with it all on my own.
All by yourself.
Yeah, Connect 4. Connect for what? Support. Connect for education. Connect for just connecting. Connect for.
Is it like the number 4 or the word?
It is. It's the number 4.
Okay.
So we won't be branding it and printing it, so we're not like infringing on the Game Connect 4.
Uh-huh.
But yeah. But I thought it was
Okay.
catchy, and I really hope that people join to get that support over the summer, because that's what we're there for. We really want to support families, and the pandemic has hit so many people financially that we need to be able to give some things to people that really need it. So I hope that people take advantage of the opportunity to get some free and useful information.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us. We're gonna let you get back to your night. I forgot
Yeah.
to get the chicken out. I did turn off the smoker.
Oops. It's going to be crispy.
Yeah, no, it only got up to 175, and then I
Okay.
turned it off. So it's slowly cooling off, but the sun is beating down on the smoker, so it's
There you
okay.
go. Yeah.
But
Well,
we're
go
gonna
eat
let you
some
get back.
chicken. All
That's
right.
right. Thanks so much for joining us, and everybody have a fantastic night.
Thanks a lot, guys. See you soon.
Okay.
Bye.